Happy Friday. Welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today, it's a lot. Yesterday, the Cincinnati Bengals lost a 35-34 game versus the Baltimore Ravens. And it was a crazy one. Both quarterbacks were going absolutely insane. Jamar Chase had 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. And there's a lot to unpack from this one, so we're gonna sit down here for a little bit while I'm eating my lunch. It is probably, what time is it? So it's almost 12 o'clock right now. And we're gonna unpack what we just experienced last night on Thursday Night Football. So, Burrow versus Lamar, part 2, in Baltimore this time. It was one for the ages, I'd say. It was one for the ages for sure. And the Cincinnati Bengals defense, first half was absolutely elite. They held Derrick Henry in check, held Lamar Jackson in check the first half. I mean, they had the Ravens on locks. They were playing good football. Into the third quarter, 21-7 lead. In the third quarter, Chase Brown takes the carry. He fumbles. It's a snap of fingers. Baltimore Ravens, they take all of the momentum away. And it's really crazy. It's just crazy how the things unpacked yesterday. Obviously, the last drive is the hot topic right now. The last drive, everyone's talking about the Burrow game-tying drive, or almost game-tying drive, where he went the length of the field with about a little over 2 minutes left and 1 timeout. He went the length of the field. He went down to the end zone. Everyone's talking about that. The ref ball, there was a missed face mask during that drive, obviously. The refs were a big problem yesterday. The 2-point conversion, obviously everybody's talking about. I will never fault Zach Taylor for calling a 2-point conversion there and going for 2. I think that's absolutely the right decision. I think that's the call you have to make. Your defense is not going to be able to stop Lamar Jackson overtime. That's the bottom line. Your defense, we saw it in Week 5 on October 6th in Cincinnati. That defense is not going to be able to stop Lamar Jackson on overtime with the way they were playing in the second half, and Zach Taylor showed that by going for 2. On the 2-point conversion, obviously, Mike Gesicki looked like he got held. No flag. Joe Burrow, hands to the face, should have been roughing the passer, no flag. You can even argue Tanner Hudson got flagged on the target that Burrow made. But no flags on anything. The referees isn't even what I'm most mad about. That's not even what I'm really mad about. I'm mad about holding a 21-7 lead in the third quarter on the road in primetime, one of the toughest places to play in the entire National Football League, and blowing it. Lamar Jackson is the MVP frontrunner right now, and yesterday in the second half, he played like it. And, man, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, those two guys, I feel so bad for them this morning. Waking up this morning for those two guys, I feel absolutely terrible for them. They are leaving it all out on the table for this team. Burrow throws 428 yards and 4 touchdowns in a loss. Chase goes for 264 and 3 in a loss. The Bengals lose the game. It's unfathomable the way this defense is playing this year. Tackling has been absolutely abysmal, unfathomable, derailing. Like, Geno Stone is doing, he looks like a double agent right now at the Baltimore Ravens. He has done nothing to what we brought him in for. Von Bell, we brought him back. He looks like a shell of himself from what he used to look like. Cam Taylor-Britt has regressed heavily. I had high hopes for Cam Taylor-Britt myself. I thought Cam Taylor-Britt was going to be a star in this league, and he has showed nothing of it this year. Cam Taylor-Britt, when he's man-to-man, he is cooked every single snap. DJ Turner was out of the game for a good part of it yesterday. Looked like they brought in the rookie Josh Newton for a little while. Didn't really change the pace at all. I mean, Jermaine Pratt looks slow, man. Jermaine Pratt, like, obviously, there's a lot worse things to be complaining about on this defense of Jermaine Pratt right now, but he looks like a shell of himself, too. I'd say the only two solidified starters, other than Chris Jenkins and McKinley Jackson, like the rookies and young guys like Miles Murphy and stuff like that, other than those guys, like the only two solidified starters that are safe on this defense past the year of 2024 are Trey Hendrickson and Logan Wilson. There's a lot of problems with the defense right now, man. It's like it's derailing to lose 2 games to the same exact team in the same exact way, blowing a lead. Had the Baltimore Ravens had the MVP quarterback on the ropes twice, and they blew it twice. It's sickening. I thought Zach Taylor called a fine game yesterday. I did. I thought Zach Taylor called a pretty good game. I thought he did. I love the 2-point conversion call. I mean, I thought he called a good football game. He went for on fourth down a few times. Obviously, it didn't work every time, but I like the aggressiveness in a game like that. In an AFC North game where you're playing the better football team on the road, you have to be that aggressive. I do not blame Zach Taylor for yesterday's loss. I do not blame Joe Burrow. The only complaint I had about Joe Burrow yesterday was the 3rd and 2 and the 4th and 2, throwing goal balls on both times. That's the only complaint I had about Burrow yesterday. The front office is really what I'm looking at right now. If you look at the front office, Jesse Bates walked out the door for nothing. DJ Reader walked out the door for nothing. Cheeto Bayawuzie walked out the door for nothing. Obviously, Cheeto was regressing, I'd say, and obviously without the torn ACL, he didn't look the same, but walked out the door. Eli Apple, everyone hated on Eli Apple. He was a solid average contributor in that cornerback room. Walked out the door. So many problems with this team, man. Burrow was getting hit all night last night, and he threw 428. Cordell Volson, Alex Kappa, those two have looked absolutely cooked this year. Cordell Volson is massive. He is a big guard, and he is one of the worst in the National Football League. Alex Kappa looks terrible. This is like the worst year of his entire career we're looking at Alex Kappa right now. I don't know. If the defense continues like this and this team falls short of the playoffs, it might be time to fire Lou Anarumo. I don't know. It might be. It might be time for a change of scenery in that defensive coordinator room. I just had to say, because this is the best football we've ever seen from Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. If I'm Jamar Chase, I'm not even stepping on that field until I get an extension. Bad juju from the start of the season when they didn't pay Jamar Chase. So now they're 4-6. They're 4-6. They still have an outside shot at a wild card. The AFC North out of the equation. You're 1-2 in the division now. You're 4-6 on the year. Don't even look at the first place in the AFC North. It's going to be the Baltimore Ravens or the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens Steelers play twice still. That will decide it. One of those two teams win the division. The other one probably takes one of the wild card spots. In the outlook of that, you still have the other wild card contenders. You have the Chargers, you have the Broncos, you have the Jets, and you have us pretty much. Those are like the 4 in there. We still have the Broncos and the Chargers on the schedule. Chargers next Sunday night. Those 2 games are absolute must-wins. They have to go. I mean, at this point, you don't have to run the table. Technically, you can go 10-7, but you want to run the table to have that chance. In the AFC this year, with how top-heavy it is, you'll probably get in the playoffs at 10-7. I don't know. I'm so disappointed in these guys, man. I had such higher expectations. I knew the defense wasn't as strong as it's been in years past. I knew that coming into the year, but I didn't think it would look this bad. I didn't think a Lou Anarumo unit would look this soft. Disappointing, man. Disappointing. We just got to keep taking it week by week and getting better. As Joe Burrow would say, I guess, but those guys are absolutely failed. They have, technically, if this team was a better football team, they'd have an MVP contender in Joe Burrow, an Offensive Player of the Year contender in Jamar Chase, and they've had a Defensive Player of the Year contender in Trey Hendrickson. Those are the 3, have been absolutely producing for you all year. And this team is 4-6. This season has been absolutely unfathomable and inexcusable. I don't have anything further to say. I mean, crazy night. We get a mini bye. We got a rebound in Los Angeles next weekend. I took a 4-day weekend for these guys. I will not let the Cincinnati Bengals ruin my 4-day weekend. Man, it's a rough one. But yeah, I will see you guys next time. This has been 365 Analytics. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.